Day 1 was a Tuesday. I remember that because I'd taken the day off work to go camping. 3-day weekend stretched to 4 because I had vacation days expiring and my boss didn't care when I used them as long as the quarterly reports got filed. The camping truck wasn't even supposed to be mine for another week. I was test driving it for my uncle, who'd spent the last 8 months converting a Ford F-550 into what he called his apocalypse insurance policy. He thought he was joking. The truck is a beast. Extended cab, dual rear wheels, custom flatbed with a slide-in camper that my uncle armored himself. Steel plating over the walls, polycarbonate windows with steel mesh, reinforced door with 3 separate locks, solar panels on the roof, water tanks underneath. The whole thing weighs close to 4 tons. Uncle Jerry was a welder before he retired and paranoid in that friendly prepper way where he stockpiled canned goods and knew how to purify water, but still watched football every Sunday and told dad jokes at family barbecues. I was supposed to take it up to Lake Roosevelt, camp for a few days, test all the systems, report back on anything that needed tweaking. Instead, I'm parked on Forest Service Road 447, approximately 8 miles from the nearest paved highway, surrounded by pine trees and things that used to be people. The radio went dead 4 hours ago. Before that, it was nothing but screaming. I'm sitting in the driver's seat right now, engine off to conserve fuel, watching the tree line. It's getting dark. I've counted 6 of them so far, shambling between the pines like they're looking for something. One of them is wearing a ranger uniform. I saw her this morning when she was still alive, checking permits at the campground entrance. Now, half her face is gone, and she walks with this lurching, disjointed gait that makes my stomach turn. The camping area behind me is chaos. Tents ripped open, coolers overturned, a minivan with all its doors open, and blood streaked across the sliding panel. I watched a family die in that van. Mom, Dad, 2 kids. The things came out of the woods just after dawn, and the screaming woke me up. I started the truck. Thank God Uncle Jerry kept it fueled, and I drove. Not away, because where would I go? The logging road only goes deeper into the national forest. So I drove here, to this wide spot where the road forks, where I have visibility in 3 directions and trees too dense for vehicles behind me. I've been here 11 hours. The sun is setting behind the mountains and I need to make decisions. The camper section has blackout curtains Uncle Jerry installed, but light leaks. I can see it from outside when I tested the interior lights this afternoon. If I use lights, they'll see. If I don't use lights, I'm sitting in the dark in a metal box listening to them outside. My phone has been useless since around noon. No signal up here even before everything went bad, but I could at least see the time, play games, look at photos. Now the battery's at 12% and I'm saving it. For what, I don't know. To check the time, to have some connection to the world that existed yesterday? The camping truck has everything I need to survive for a while. Uncle Jerry stocked it like he was preparing for this exact situation. 3 55-gallon water tanks mounted under the frame, pantry stocked with freeze-dried meals, canned goods, rice, beans, protein bars, a marine battery bank charged by solar panels, propane tanks for the stove and heater, a composting toilet that I really hoped I'd never have to use, tools, first aid kit, emergency supplies, even a shotgun with 2 boxes of shells locked in a compartment under the rear seat. But supplies don't matter if I can't get out of these mountains. The logging road I'm on eventually connects to Highway 21, which leads to Boise if you go north or to Mountain Home if you go south. That's 60 miles of winding mountain road, and I passed at least a dozen other camping areas on the way up here yesterday. Yesterday, when the world was normal, my biggest concern was whether I'd remembered to pack enough beer. I didn't drink the beer. It's still in the cooler getting warm. Seems stupid now. One of them is getting closer to the truck. It's a man, older, wearing camping gear that's shredded and soaked with something dark. He moves with that same broken puppet motion they all have, arms hanging loose, head tilted at a weird angle. He's making sounds, not words, just these wet, guttural noises that might have been breathing once, but now sound like something's stuck in his throat. I'm gripping the steering wheel even though the engine is off. My hands are shaking. He walks past the truck, maybe 15 feet away, and doesn't even look at it. Just keeps moving toward the campground, toward the overturned picnic tables and the tent that's flapping in the evening breeze. I watch him in the side mirror until he disappears around the van with the blood. Okay. I need to think. The truck has 3/4 of a tank of fuel. The diesel engine will run for hours if I need it to. I can drive at night with the headlights off if I go slow enough. Uncle Jerry installed auxiliary lighting that I can control from inside, including infrared that won't be visible to human eyes, or to whatever these things are now that they're not human anymore. But where do I drive to? The emergency broadcast this morning, before the radio died, said to shelter in place. Stay inside, lock your doors, help is coming. That was 6 hours ago. Since then, nothing but static and occasional screaming that might have been on the radio or might have been outside. I can't tell anymore. I could try to make it back to the highway. 8 miles of rough road, probably more of those things between here and there. The truck is heavy and armored, but it's not a tank. If enough of them surround it, if they figure out how to break in. No, it's not how they work. I've been watching them all day. They don't figure things out. They react. Movement attracts them. Sound attracts them. They swarm toward stimulation like moths to light. But when nothing moves, nothing makes noise. They just wander. So maybe I wait. Maybe I sit here in this armored camping truck with its steel walls and locked doors and wait for someone to come. Military, rescue workers, someone organized with guns and a plan. The ranger, the thing wearing the ranger's body, stumbles back into view. She's closer now, maybe 10 feet from the truck. Her eyes are clouded over, milk white, but she's looking around like she can see. Can't she? I don't know. I don't know anything about how this works. She opens her mouth and that same wet, rattling sound comes out. I'm holding my breath without meaning to. She turns away, stumbles toward the trees. Gone again. I let the breath out slowly, quietly, even though I'm sealed inside a truck with the windows up. Even though there's no way she could hear me. Fear isn't rational. The camper section behind me has a bed, a dinette that converts to another bed, storage compartments, the tiny kitchen area with a 2-burner propane stove, and a sink connected to the water tanks. Uncle Jerry designed it so you could live off-grid for weeks. He showed me everything yesterday, walking me through the systems with the enthusiasm of someone showing off a project they're proud of. How to switch between solar and shore power, how to monitor the water levels, where he'd hidden the extra ammunition. You never know, he'd said, grinning. Zombies, nuclear war, economic collapse. This baby will keep you alive. He was in Boise when this started. I wonder if he's still alive. I wonder if anyone in the cities is still alive, or if it's worse there. Probably worse. More people means more of those things. Focus. I need to focus. First priority, secure the truck for the night. I've been sitting in the driver's seat for hours watching, but I haven't actually checked all the locks, all the seals. Uncle Jerry was thorough. But I need to be sure. I unbuckle my seatbelt, slowly, quietly. The click sounds loud in the silence. I freeze, listening. Nothing outside changes. The crickets that were chirping earlier have gone quiet. That's new. I don't like that. The camper section is accessible through a door behind the rear seat. I climb back carefully, testing each movement. The truck rocks slightly on its suspension. I freeze again. Still nothing outside. The camper interior is dim. Late afternoon light filters through the reinforced windows, casting everything in gray. Uncle Jerry mounted LED strip lights along the ceiling, but I'm not turning those on yet. I can see well enough. I start with the door, the main entry point on the driver's side of the camper. It's a custom job, heavy steel with a rubber seal and 3 deadbolts. All 3 are locked. I test them anyway, pulling on the handle. Solid. The hinges are on the inside, no way to pop them from outside. There's a small window in the door, 6 inches by 8 inches, with polycarbonate and wire mesh. I can see out to the trees, to the darkening forest. Something moves out there. I step back from the window, heart hammering. Just shadows. just branches moving in the wind. Probably. The side windows are next. 4 of them, 2 on each side, all reinforced. Uncle Jerry used polycarbonate that's supposedly bulletproof, or at least bullet resistant. He tested it by shooting it with various firearms and showing me the photos of the results. The .22 didn't penetrate. The 9mm left a star-shaped crack but didn't go through. The .45 made a deeper crater but still held. He didn't test it with a shotgun because he said that would probably break it and the material was expensive. I check each window, making sure the latches are secured. They are. There's also steel mesh over the outside, bolted to the camper frame. You can see through it if you're inside, but from outside, it would be hard to see in, especially in low light. The roof hatch is another entry point. It's a standard RV skylight that Uncle Jerry replaced with a reinforced version, but it still opens. I climb onto the bed, a full-size mattress on a platform with storage underneath, and check the latches. Locked. There's a manual crank to open it, and I make sure it's in the closed position, cranked tight. Okay, the truck is secure. Probably as secure as it's gonna get. My watch says it's 6:47 p.m. The sun has dropped behind the mountains and the light is fading fast. In another 30 minutes, it'll be full dark, and I'll need to decide about lights. My stomach growls. I haven't eaten since breakfast, granola bar and coffee at the campground this morning, before the world ended. The pantry is well stocked. I open one of the upper cabinets and look at the options: freeze-dried meals that need hot water, canned soup, protein bars, trail mix, instant oatmeal. Uncle Jerry even stocked coffee and a French press. I grab a protein bar and a bottle of water from the case under the dinette. The water is warm but clean. The protein bar tastes like cardboard and chocolate, but I eat it anyway, forcing myself to chew slowly. My hands are still shaking. Outside, the noises are changing. The wet, guttural sounds are getting more frequent, coming from different directions. How many of them are out there now? More than 6, maybe a dozen, maybe more coming down from the other camping areas, drawn by what? The smell of blood? The lingering scent of living people. I finish the protein bar and drink half the water bottle. My mouth is dry. Fear does that. The truck has a bathroom, a tiny closet with a composting toilet and a shower that uses the water tanks. I need to pee, have needed to for an hour. But I've been putting it off because using the toilet makes this real, makes this a situation I'm surviving, not just a nightmare I'll wake up from. I use the toilet. It's real. The shower has a water heater that runs on propane, but I'm not wasting water or fuel on a shower. Not yet. Not until I know how long I might be here. Back in the main camper area, I stand at the rear window and look out at the darkening forest. The trees are black shapes against a charcoal sky. Stars are starting to appear. It would be beautiful if it weren't terrifying. Movement. There, between 2 pines. The ranger again, I think, based on the uniform. She's just standing there, swaying slightly. Another shape joins her, then another. They're gathering. Why? What are they doing? I back away from the window, pulse racing. This is bad. This feels bad. The truck has blackout curtains on every window, heavy, light-blocking fabric that Uncle Jerry installed specifically for stealth camping. I start closing them, moving from window to window, sealing myself in. The camper gets darker with each curtain pulled. By the time I finish, it's almost pitch black inside. I feel safer with the curtains closed. Out of sight, out of mind. If they can't see me, maybe they'll forget I'm here. But I can't see them now either. I stand in the darkness, listening. My eyes are adjusting slowly. The camper has a few small LED nightlights that Uncle Jerry installed. Dim red lights that preserve night vision and don't leak much. I find the switch and turn on one in the kitchen area. The red glow is barely enough to see by, but it helps. The sounds outside are louder now, more of those wet, rattling vocalizations. Footsteps on gravel and pine needles. Something scrapes against the truck's exterior. I freeze. Scrape, scrape, scrape. It's on the driver's side, near the front. Something dragging along the armored panels. I move toward the sound, then stop myself. What am I going to do? Look out? Yell at it to go away? The scraping stops. Silence. Then a thump against the wall. Another thump. They're touching the truck, testing it. I back toward the bed, trying to control my breathing. The thumps continue, irregular, coming from different sides now. How many are out there? It sounds like a lot. This was stupid. I should have driven out when I had the chance. Should have risked the logging road in daylight instead of parking here like bait in a trap. No. Calm down. Think. The truck is solid. Uncle Jerry built it to withstand worse than dead hands thumping on steel. They can't get in. I just need to wait them out. A face appears at the side window. I scream before I can stop myself, hand clamped over my mouth a second too late. The blackout curtain is closed, but there's a tiny gap where I didn't pull it completely shut, and in that gap is an eye, clouded, white, staring. The thumping intensifies. They heard me. Stupid, stupid, stupid. I grab the curtain and yank it shut properly, sealing the gap. My heart is trying to punch through my ribcage. The thumps are everywhere now, all around the truck, a chaotic drumbeat of dead hands on metal and polycarbonate. They can't get in. They can't get in. The truck is secure. I checked everything, but what if I miss something? What if there's a weak point Uncle Jerry didn't account for? What if they're strong enough to break through? I'm backing toward the rear of the camper, toward the bed, when something occurs to me. The gun. Uncle Jerry's shotgun is locked under the rear seat in the cab section. I'd need to climb back through to get it. Do I need it? They can't get in. Probably can't get in. Probably. I climb through to the cab, moving as quietly as I can. The thumping continues outside, maybe louder, maybe my imagination. The driver and passenger seats are empty, shadows in the dark. I squeeze between them and pop the release on the underseat storage. The shotgun is there, a Remington 870 with a tactical light mounted under the barrel. 2 boxes of shells next to it, Federal buckshot. Uncle Jerry showed me how to load it yesterday, making me practice until I could do it smoothly. Muscle memory, he'd said. If you ever need it, you won't have time to think. I load 5 shells into the magazine tube. Chamber 1, thumb the safety on. The weight of it is reassuring and terrifying at the same time. I have a weapon now. That means I might need to use it. Back in the camper, I set the shotgun on the bed within easy reach. The thumping is starting to die down, becoming sporadic instead of constant. Maybe they're losing interest. Maybe they're leaving. I wait, sitting on the edge of the bed, shotgun next to me, listening. The thumps fade. The wet vocalizations grow quieter, more distant. After what feels like an hour but is probably 20 minutes, it's mostly quiet again. Just occasional sounds from farther away in the campground or the trees. I'm exhausted. The adrenaline crash hits me all at once and I'm shaking, cold despite the warm evening. I need to rest, need to think, need to plan what to do when the sun comes up. But sleep feels impossible. I lie down on the bed, fully clothed, boots still on, shotgun next to my right hand. The mattress is comfortable. Uncle Jerry splurged on a good one, he'd said. If you're living off-grid, you need quality sleep. I close my eyes, open them. The red nightlight casts strange shadows. I close my eyes again. Sleep doesn't come. I count the sounds outside, categorize them. Footsteps there and there. Vocalization, distant to the west. Wind in the trees, constant, soothing. Something else, can't identify it. Scratching, chewing. Don't think about that. I must drift off eventually because I jerk awake to darkness and silence and momentary panic about where I am. The camper, the truck, the apocalypse. It all comes back in a rush. My watch says 3:42 a.m. I slept for almost 7 hours. The fact that I could sleep at all is either a good sign, my brain protecting me from stress, or a bad sign. Shock, denial, trauma response. The camper is cold. The temperature has dropped significantly. I should turn on the propane heater, but I'm worried about the noise, the exhaust, anything that might attract attention. I lie still, listening. Outside is quiet. Really quiet. No footsteps, no vocalizations, just wind and the distant sound of the creek that runs through the campground. Maybe they left. Maybe they wander at night and I'm alone now. I sit up slowly. The shotgun is still next to me, cold metal against my hand. I'm thirsty and I need to pee again, but first, I need to know what's outside. Moving carefully, I approach one of the side windows and ease the blackout curtain back a fraction of an inch. Darkness, trees, starlight filtering through the canopy. I can't see much, but I don't see movement. I risk opening the curtain a bit more. The forest looks empty. The campground beyond is a disaster of overturned equipment and abandoned vehicles, but nothing is moving. I check the other windows, peering out from behind the curtains. Nothing, nobody, no things. Did they leave? Where would they go? I use the toilet, drink more water, eat another protein bar while standing at the kitchen counter in the red glow of the nightlight. My legs ache from tension and my shoulders are tight knots. I need to move, stretch, do something other than sit in fear. But I also need to stay quiet. I compromise by doing some careful stretches in the small floor space, rolling my shoulders, twisting my back. It helps marginally. 4:15 a.m. Dawn is still hours away. I could try to sleep more, but I'm awake now, wired on adrenaline and fear and protein bar. I could leave. Start the engine, turn on the headlights, drive down the logging road in the dark. I'd probably crash, probably get stuck, probably attract every one of those things for miles around with the engine noise. Or I could wait for daylight, see what the situation looks like, make a decision then. Waiting makes more sense. Probably. I spend the next hour organizing supplies. It gives me something to do, something to focus on besides the fear. I inventory the pantry, count the water bottles, check the propane levels on the tanks. Uncle Jerry was thorough. I have food for at least a month if I ration carefully. Water for 2 weeks, maybe 3. Propane for cooking and heat for longer than that, but I can't stay here for a month. The truck is well supplied, but it's not a bunker. Eventually I'll need to move, to find other people, to figure out if there's anywhere safe left in the world. The radio. I should check the radio. I climb back into the cab and turn the key to accessory power without starting the engine. The dashboard lights up, bright in the darkness. I turn them off quickly. The radio comes on, static hissing through the speakers. I keep the volume low and scan through the frequencies. Static, static, static. A squeal of feedback, more static. Then a voice. Repeat. This is Gowan Field Emergency Broadcast. If you can hear this message, proceed to the following evacuation points. Downtown Boise is lost. I repeat, downtown Boise is lost. Evacuation points are Motorhome Air Force Base, the Idaho State Capitol Building parking lot, and the Boise Town Square Mall South parking area. Military and emergency personnel are maintaining these positions. Bring supplies if you can. Do not, repeat, do not attempt to enter downtown Boise. The bridges are compromised. The infection is widespread. If you are injured or bitten, you will not be admitted to evacuation points. This is Gowan Field Emergency Broadcast. The message repeats. I listened to it 3 more times, memorizing the details. Gowan Field is the Air National Guard base south of Boise. If they're broadcasting, that means there's organization, military presence, some kind of order. Motorhome Air Force Base is 60 miles south of here. The other evacuation points are in Boise itself, which the broadcast says is lost. Motorhome is my best bet. If I can get to Highway 21, I can follow it south. 60 miles through the mountains, then another 20 on the interstate. 80 miles in a 4-ton armored camping truck. Through roads that might be blocked, might be swarming with infected, might be completely impassable. But it's a destination, a goal, better than sitting here waiting. I turn off the radio and the accessory power. The cab goes dark again. Outside, the sky is starting to lighten in the east. Dawn is coming. I climb back into the camper and open the curtains slightly on the east-facing window to watch the sunrise. The forest emerges from darkness in shades of gray and green. The campground is a wreck. Tents shredded, vehicles abandoned, supplies scattered everywhere. But I don't see any of them. The infected are gone. Where did they go? Do they hide during the day? Or do they just wander following some instinct I don't understand? I'll need to understand if I'm going to survive this. The sun breaks over the mountain ridge, golden light spilling through the trees. It's beautiful. Wrong that it should be beautiful when everything else is horror, but beautiful anyway. I make coffee. The French press Uncle Jerry packed is simple. Heat water on the propane stove, add grounds, steep, press, pour. The smell fills the camper, rich and normal. I drink it black from a metal camping mug, standing at the window, watching the forest. Nothing moves out there, except wind in the branches. I eat oatmeal for breakfast, instant maple flavor mixed with hot water. Real food, not just protein bars. I need the calories, need the energy for what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave today, going to attempt the drive to Mountain Home. But first, I need to check the truck, make sure it's ready for the journey. Uncle Jerry maintained it meticulously, but I need to verify everything myself. I grab the shotgun and unlock the main door. 3 deadbolts, click, click, click. The morning air rushes in, cool and pine-scented. I step out carefully, shotgun ready, scanning the area. Empty. The campground looks like a war zone in the morning light, but there's no movement, no sound, except birds starting their dawn chorus. The truck looks intact. The steel plating is dented in a few places where they must have hit it hard, but there's no structural damage. I walk around the entire vehicle, checking tires. All good. Walk around inspection like Uncle Jerry taught me. Check the solar panels on the roof. No damage visible. Check the water tanks underneath. Secure and full. The diesel tanks are accessible from outside, with locking caps. 3/4 full like I thought. Maybe 300 miles of range if I'm careful. Enough to get to Mountain Home with fuel to spare. I notice scratches on the driver's door, deep gouges in the paint. Fingernails. They clawed at it. The thought makes my skin crawl. A sound from the campground. I freeze, shotgun up. It's the minivan, the one with the blood. The sliding door is moving in the wind, creaking on its hinges. Just the wind. I finish the inspection quickly and climb back into the camper, locking the door behind me. My heart is racing again. Being outside, exposed, even for 5 minutes, it's too much. But the truck is ready. I'm as ready as I'm going to be. I spend the next hour preparing. I pack a go bag with essential supplies in case I need to abandon the truck. Water bottles, protein bars, first aid kit, flashlight, knife, extra ammunition. I dress in layers, jeans, t-shirt, flannel, jacket, hiking boots tied tight. I fill water bottles and put them within easy reach in the cab. The shotgun goes in the passenger seat. Extra shells in the door pocket. I use the bathroom one more time, wash my face in the sink, look at myself in the small mirror. I look scared. I am scared, but I'm also determined. I climb into the driver's seat and start the engine. The diesel rumbles to life, loud in the morning quiet. I wait, watching the mirrors, watching the campground. Nothing. No reaction. I put the truck in gear and ease forward. The logging road is rough, but the truck handles it easily, suspension soaking up the bumps. I drive slowly, carefully, watching for obstacles. The first mile is clear. Forest on both sides, road winding through the pines. I pass the turnoff for another campground and speed up slightly. The engine is loud but powerful, pulling the heavy truck up the grade without strain. Second mile. A car is blocking half the road, driver's door open, no one inside. I slow down and navigate around it, tires crunching on gravel. Third mile. Bodies. 3 of them lying in the road, torn apart. I don't look closely. I drive around them. 4th mile. One of them is standing in the middle of the road. I slow down, gripping the steering wheel. It's a woman, middle-aged, wearing hiking clothes. She's just standing there, swaying. Her head turns as I approach, those milky eyes fixing on the truck. I could stop. I could back up. I could honk the horn and try to scare her away. Instead, I press the accelerator. The truck surges forward. She doesn't move. I'm going to hit her. I hit her. The truck barely registers the impact. A thump against the reinforced bumper. A shape disappearing under the hood. I don't look in the rearview mirror. My hands are shaking on the wheel. I just killed someone. Something. I don't know anymore. 5th mile, 6th. The logging road levels out. Wider here, better maintained. I'm making good time. 7th mile. A ranger station appears on the left. Small building with a parking lot. There are vehicles there and movement. I slow down. 3 of them in the parking lot, stumbling between cars. They turn toward the sound of the truck. One of them starts moving toward the road. I speed up, blowing past the ranger station. In the rearview mirror, I see them following, lurching into the road behind me. They can't keep up. The truck pulls away easily. 8th mile. The paved highway appears ahead. Highway 21, the road that will take me south to safety. Or death. One or the other. I turn onto the pavement and accelerate. The truck handles better on the smooth surface, speed climbing to 40, 50, 60 miles per hour. The mountains blur past. I'm on my way. The highway cuts through dense forest, winding between peaks and through valleys. I pass other vehicles, cars stopped on the shoulder, an overturned RV, a pickup truck in the ditch. I don't stop to investigate. I keep moving. 10 miles, 20. I'm making good progress. The fuel gauge shows just over half a tank, plenty to get to Mountain Home, 30 miles. A town appears ahead, small mountain community. The sign says, Loman, population 156. I slow down as I approach. The town is a disaster. Buildings burned, vehicles crashed, bodies in the streets, and movement. Lots of movement. I count at least 20 of them shambling through the main street. They turn toward the truck as I enter the town, converging on the sound of the engine. I accelerate, swerving around a crashed police car. One of them lurches into the road and I hit it, another thump against the bumper. More of them are coming from side streets, from buildings, from everywhere. The main street is blocked ahead. A delivery truck jackknifed across both lanes. I slam on the brakes. The truck skids, tires screaming. I stop 10 feet from the wreck. They're surrounding me. Dozens of them, pressing against the truck, hands slapping on the armor, faces pressed against the windows. The noise is overwhelming. That wet, rattling vocalization multiplied by a crowd. I can't go forward. The truck is too wide to get around the jackknife delivery vehicle. I throw the transmission into reverse and stomp on the accelerator. The truck lurches backward, infected, bouncing off the bumper and falling under the wheels. I feel the sickening bump of running them over. Backward down the main street, dodging parked cars, mirror showing more of them pouring out of buildings behind me. I'm trapped in the middle of the town with infected on all sides. There, a side street to the right, narrow but clear. I crank the wheel and swing the truck around, transmission screaming as I shift from reverse to drive. The truck barrels down the side street, clipping a mailbox, crushing a bicycle someone left on the sidewalk. The side street dead ends at a park. Shit. I spin the wheel hard left, jumping the curb, driving across the park's lawn. The truck bounces over a flower bed, crashes through a wooden fence, and bursts out onto another street. This one slopes downhill, away from the main street. I follow it, accelerating, leaving the town behind. In the rearview mirror, I can see them in the street, a mass of bodies still following the truck. But I'm faster. The town falls away behind me, and I'm back on Highway 21, heart pounding, hands white-knuckled on the steering wheel. That was too close. I drive for another 10 miles before I feel safe enough to slow down, to breathe properly. The road ahead is clear, forest on both sides, mountains in the distance. The fuel gauge shows a quarter tank, The escape through Loman used more fuel than I thought. I have maybe 60 miles of range left, and Mountain Home is still 40 miles away. It's going to be tight. I pass a sign, Idaho City, 15 miles. That's another small town. I'll need to decide whether to go through it or try to find a way around. The truck's GPS is useless without satellite signal, but I remember the general route from the map I studied before the trip. Highway 21 goes through Idaho City, then meets Highway 55, which leads to the interstate. The interstate goes to Mountain Home, through or around. Through is faster, but dangerous. Around means back roads, getting lost, using more fuel. I decide as I see the outskirts of Idaho City ahead. The highway bypasses the main town, swinging east around the residential areas. I follow the bypass, watching for movement. The town looks empty from the highway. A few crashed cars, some smoke rising from a building fire that's mostly burned out, but no infected visible. Maybe they're inside, maybe they left. Maybe this town was evacuated successfully. The bypass merges back onto the main highway south of town. I made it through without incident. The fuel gauge is sitting just above the empty mark. 20 miles of range, maybe less. And I'm still 30 miles from Mountain Home. I'm not going to make it. I need fuel. The truck won't run without it, and the armored camper won't protect me if I'm stranded on the side of the highway. There, a gas station ahead, old-style building with 2 pumps under a metal awning. The sign says, "Last Chance Gas, next station 40 miles." I pull in slowly, scanning the area. The gas station looks abandoned. No vehicles, no movement. The windows are intact, door closed. The pumps are ancient, probably not electronic, possibly manual. I park next to the pumps and sit there, engine running, watching. Nothing moves. The forest presses close on 3 sides, the highway stretching away to the north and south. I need that fuel. I grab the shotgun and step out of the truck, leaving the engine running. The morning is warm now, sun high in a clear sky. Birds are singing. It feels wrong. The fuel cap on the truck is locked. I dig the key out of my pocket and unlock it, unscrew the cap. The pumps are diesel and unlidded. I grab the diesel nozzle. The pump is electric. I try the handle. Nothing, no power. Of course, the power grid is down. These pumps need electricity, but underground tanks still have fuel. I just need a way to get it out. I check the gas station building. The door is unlocked. I push it open slowly, shotgun ready. The inside is dark, aisles of snacks and drinks and automotive supplies. Everything covered in a thin layer of dust. Behind the counter, I find what I'm looking for. A hand pump for emergency fuel transfer. Old-fashioned, manual, with a long hose. Perfect. I also grab a funnel, some beef jerky, and a 6-pack of energy drinks. May as well stock up. Outside, figure out how to open the underground diesel tank access. It takes 10 minutes and a crowbar from the truck's toolkit, but I get it open. The tank is 3/4 full, thousands of gallons of diesel just sitting here. The hand pump is slow, exhausting work. I pump and pump, watching the fuel flow through the clear hose into the truck's tank. My arms burn, sweat soaks through my shirt. 20 gallons, 30. The truck's tank holds 60 gallons total. I keep pumping, a sound from the forest. Snapping branches. I freeze, pump handle in one hand, shotgun in the other. The forest is dense here, hard to see more than 20 feet in. Another sound, closer. Footsteps on dead leaves. I drop the pump handle and bring the shotgun up. Safety off. One of them stumbles out of the trees 50 feet away. Male, young, wearing a torn Boise State sweatshirt. His face is a ruin. He sees me, and that vocalization starts, wet and horrible. I don't shoot. The sound would attract more of them. I back toward the truck slowly. He's coming faster now, that broken puppet run they do, 30 feet away. I raise the shotgun, aim center mass, 20 feet. Stop, I say, knowing it's pointless. Just stop. He doesn't stop. I pull the trigger. The shotgun roars, bucking against my shoulder. The buckshot takes him in the chest, stopping him, dropping him. He doesn't get up. The sound echoes through the forest, impossibly loud. I wait, shotgun ready, scanning the trees. More sounds now, branches breaking, multiple footsteps. They heard the shot. I need to leave. Now. The fuel tank is maybe 2/3 full. Good enough. I screw the cap back on, throw the pump and supplies in the truck, and climb into the driver's seat. The engine is still running. 3 of them emerge from the forest as I shift into gear. I accelerate out of the gas station, tires squealing on asphalt. In the rearview mirror, they're following, but they're slow. The truck pulls away. My hands are shaking again. I killed another one, second one today. How many more before this is over? The highway stretches south. The fuel gauge shows half a tank now, enough to get to Mountain Home with some to spare. I drive. The mountains give way to foothills, then to high desert. The landscape changes, pine forests becoming scrub and sagebrush. The air gets warmer. I'm descending in elevation, leaving the mountains behind. A sign, Mountain Home, 25 miles. I'm gonna make it. I'm actually gonna make it. The highway meets Interstate 84, the main east-west route across Idaho. I merge onto the interstate heading east, toward Mountain Home. The interstate is chaos, vehicles everywhere, some crashed, some abandoned, some burned. I weave between them, maintaining speed. Traffic gets denser as I approach Mountain Home. The exit ramps are blocked with military vehicles, concrete barriers, sandbags. I can see soldiers, actual living people in uniform, manning positions behind the barriers. One of them steps into the road ahead, arm up, signaling me to stop. I slow the truck and come to a stop 50 feet from the barrier. The soldier approaches carefully, rifle ready, but not pointed at me. He's young, maybe 25, with 3 days of stubble and exhausted eyes. "You alone?" he calls out. "Yeah," I call back through the closed window. "You bit? Injured?" "No, I'm fine. I heard the broadcast from Gowan Field." He lowers the rifle slightly. "Where'd you come from?" "National Forest, north of here. Been on the road all day." He studies the truck, taking in the armor, the reinforced windows. "That's a hell of a vehicle." "My uncle built it." "Your uncle still alive?" "I don't know." He nods. "Okay. I'm going to need you to step out of the vehicle, slowly. Keep your hands visible. We need to check you for bites." I comply, leaving the shotgun in the truck, stepping out with my hands up. Another soldier approaches, a woman with medic insignia on her uniform. She checks my arms, my neck, has me lift my shirt. "He's clean," she says. The first soldier relaxes. "Welcome to Mountain Home Air Force Base, or what's left of it. You can park in the civilian area. We'll get you processed, assign you a shelter space." "There are more people here?" "About 2,000. We've been taking in survivors for the past week. It's not much, but it's safe. Mostly. It's not exactly reassuring, but it's better than being alone in the forest." I drive through the barriers into the base. The civilian area is a sprawling tent city in what looks like a former parade ground. Hundreds of tents, thousands of people, military personnel everywhere, maintaining order. I park the truck in a designated area and step out. For the first time in 3 days, I'm surrounded by living people. The noise is overwhelming. Voices, generators, vehicles, the hum of activity. A woman with a clipboard approaches. "Name?" I tell her. She writes it down. "You'll need to check in at processing, tent C7. They'll assign you a shelter space, meal times, work detail." "Work detail?" "Everyone works. We need all hands. You'll be assigned based on your skills." I nod. That makes sense. "Your vehicle, that's quite the setup. Military might want to talk to you about it." "It's mine, my uncle's. I'm not giving it up." She shrugs. "Not my call. Just letting you know." I lock the truck, pocket the keys, and head toward processing. The tent city is organized chaos. People everywhere, faces showing exhaustion, fear. relief at being alive. Kids playing between tents, trying to maintain some normalcy. Older folks sitting in folding chairs, staring at nothing. Processing takes 2 hours. Forms, questions, medical screening, assignment to tent D14, meal schedule, work assignment and supply distribution starting tomorrow. By the time I'm done, it's late afternoon. I find my assigned tent, a military surplus 6-person tent that I'm sharing with 4 other people. 2 men, 2 women, all strangers. They introduce themselves. I forget their names immediately. I'm exhausted. The adrenaline has worn off completely, and I can barely keep my eyes open. But I need to check on the truck first, make sure it's secure. I walk back to the parking area. The truck is where I left it, surrounded by other civilian vehicles, but none is impressive. A couple of military personnel are examining it, taking notes. "Can I help you?" I ask. One of them, an officer based on the insignia, turns to me. "This your vehicle?" "Yes, sir." "Impressive work. The armor, the reinforcement, custom job?" "My uncle built it." "Is your uncle here?" "I don't know where he is." The officer nods. "We could use something like this. The armor would be valuable for supply runs, rescue operations." "It's mine," I say firmly. "I'm not giving it up." "I'm not asking you to give it up. I'm asking if you'd be willing to use it to help. We'd compensate you. Extra rations, better shelter, priority for evacuation if we need to abandon this position." I consider. "What kind of help?" "Supply runs to nearby towns. There are resources we need. Medical supplies, food, fuel. We can't risk large convoys, but a single armored vehicle with a small team might be able to get in and out." "That's dangerous?" "Everything's dangerous now. But you made it here from the mountains. That's more than most people can say." He has a point. And sitting in the tent city doing supply distribution doesn't appeal to me. I prefer action, even dangerous action. "I'll think about it," I say. "Fair enough. I'm Colonel Matthews. Find me when you decide." He walks away with the other personnel. I climb into the truck and sit in the driver's seat, door closed, alone for the first time since arriving. The truck smells like diesel and pine and fear. It got me here. It kept me alive. But this isn't over. Motorhome Air Force Base isn't the end. It's just another stop. I check my supplies. The pantry is still well stocked. The water tanks are half full. Fuel is 2/3. The shotgun has 3 shells left in the magazine. I need to get more ammunition. I also need information. What's happening in the rest of the country? Is this just Idaho, or is it everywhere? Are there other safe zones? Is the government still functioning? I climb out and lock the truck. The sun is setting, painting the desert sky in shades of orange and pink. Beautiful, like the sunrise in the forest this morning. The world keeps turning even when everything falls apart. I head back to my assigned tent. My tent mates are there, unpacking meager belongings, settling in. One of them, a man in his 50s with gray hair and kind eyes, offers me a spot near the tent entrance. "First timer?" he asks. "Yeah, got here this afternoon." "You'll get used to it. The routine helps. Keeps your mind occupied." "How long have you been here?" 5 days. Came down from Boise when the city fell. Lost my wife and daughter." His voice is flat, emotionless. "Trauma does that." "I'm sorry." He shrugs. "We're all sorry. Doesn't change anything." Dinner is served at 1800 hours in the mess tent. MREs, military rations, not great, but edible. I eat mechanically, tasting nothing. Around me, people talk in low voices, sharing stories, looking for loved ones, spreading rumors. The rumors are wild. The infection started in Seattle. No, it started in New York. No, it was a bioweapon from China, Russia, North Korea. It doesn't matter where it started. What matters is, it's everywhere now. Most of the country is gone. The military is holding a few strongholds, Motorhome, some bases in Texas, a carrier group off the coast. But the cities are lost. Millions dead. Millions more infected. I don't know what to believe. After dinner, I return to the tent and lie on my assigned cot, staring at the canvas ceiling. Outside, generators hum. Guard patrols walk the perimeter. Someone is crying in a nearby tent. I should sleep. I'm exhausted, but my mind won't stop. The truck, Colonel Matthew's offer, supply runs, danger, but also purpose. I could stay here, safe behind the barriers, doing supply distribution, or I could take risks, use the truck, maybe save lives. Uncle Jerry built the truck for survival, for action. Leaving it parked while people need help feels wrong. I'll talk to the colonel tomorrow. I close my eyes and eventually, sleep comes. Day 4 is a Thursday, I think. I've lost track slightly. I wake at dawn to the sounds of the tent city coming alive. Generators starting, people moving, someone cooking something that smells like coffee. I dress and head to the mess tent for breakfast. More MREs. I grab one and eat standing up, watching the activity around the base. After breakfast, I find Colonel Matthews in the command tent, studying maps spread across a folding table. "I'll do it," I say. The supply runs. He looks up, nods. "Good. We're planning a run today, actually. Medical supplies from the hospital in Glens Ferry, 20 miles east on the interstate. Small town, population was about 1,500. We think it's mostly clear, but we need to be careful." "What's the team?" "You, 2 of my soldiers, and a medic. You drive, they handle security and loading, in and out. 2 hours tops." "When?" 0900, 1 hour. I nod. "I'll get the truck ready." I spend the next hour prepping. Check the fuel, still 2/3. Check the supplies, adequate. Load the shotgun, check that the soldiers are bringing additional weapons and ammunition. The team assembles at the truck. The 2 soldiers are Specialist Davis, a stocky man in his 30s with a no-nonsense attitude, and Private Chen, a young woman who can't be older than 22. The medic is Dr. Sarah Reeves, civilian, middle-aged with steady hands and sharp eyes. "Nice ride," Davis says, examining the truck. "My uncle's work." "Your uncle available for custom jobs? I'd pay good money for something like this." "I don't know where he is." The mood sobers. Davis nods. "Right. Sorry." We load into the truck, me driving, Davis in the passenger seat, Chen and Dr. Reeves in the camper section. Davis has an M4 rifle. Chen has a similar weapon, both with full magazines. I have the shotgun and a 9mm pistol they issued me this morning. We pull out of the base and onto the interstate heading east. The morning is clear, desert landscape stretching to the horizon. The interstate is less cluttered here, easier to navigate. Glens Ferry appears ahead, small town straddling the highway. We slow as we enter, watching for movement. The town looks abandoned. Buildings intact, vehicles parked normally, but no people, no infected either, that we can see. "Hospital's on the south side," Matthew said on the radio before we left. A 2-story building, can't miss it. We find it easily. The parking lot is empty. We park near the entrance. "Chen, you're on perimeter," Davis says. "Watch our backs. Reeves, you know what we need? Grab it fast. I'll cover the interior." We exit the truck. Chen takes up position near the entrance, rifle ready. Davis and I enter the hospital with Dr. Reeves. The interior is dim, emergency lighting barely functioning. The smell hits immediately, antiseptic mixed with decay. Something died in here. Dr. Reeves leads us to the pharmacy. The door is locked, but Davis kicks it in easily. Inside, shelves of medications, supplies, everything a field hospital needs. "Jackpot," Reeves mutters, pulling a duffel bag from her shoulder. She starts grabbing bottles, reading labels, moving with practiced efficiency. Antibiotics, painkillers, insulin, surgical supplies. This is good. This is really good. A sound from deeper in the hospital. Footsteps. Davis and I exchange looks. He gestures for Reeves to keep working, then moves toward the door, rifle up. I follow with the shotgun. The hallway is dark. The footsteps are coming from the stairwell. Could be survivors, I whisper. Could be, Davis agrees, but his tone suggests he doesn't believe it. The stairwell door opens. One of them stumbles out, wearing a doctor's coat, stethoscope still around its neck. Milky eyes find us. Davis fires. The suppressed rifle coughs, 3-round burst, center mass. The infected drops. More sounds from the stairwell. Lots more. Time to go, Davis says. We run back to the pharmacy. We're leaving, Davis tells Reeves. Now! I need 2 more minutes. You have 30 seconds. She grabs armfuls of supplies, shoving them into the duffel. I help, loading a second bag with whatever I can reach. The hallway behind us fills with sound. The wet vocalizations, multiple sources. Go! Davis shouts. We run for the exit. Chen sees us coming and opens fire past us, controlled bursts into the hallway. Infected drop, but more keep coming. We pile into the truck. I start the engine, shift into gear, accelerate out of the parking lot. In the rearview mirror, infected pour out of the hospital entrance, dozens of them. Drive! Davis yells unnecessarily. I drive. The truck barrels down the main street, through an intersection, back onto the interstate. The infected fade behind us. Everyone okay? I ask once we're clear. Yeah, Davis says, breathing hard. Good work, Chen. Thanks, specialist. Dr. Reeves is in the back, checking the duffel bags. We got most of it. Enough to keep the field hospital running for a couple weeks. Worth the risk? I ask. Absolutely. We make it back to Mountain Home without incident. Colonel Matthews is pleased with the haul. My stock rises in the camp, the guy with the armored truck who can pull off successful runs. Over the next 2 weeks, we do 6 more runs. Sometimes for medical supplies, sometimes for food, once for fuel from an abandoned truck stop. Each run is dangerous. Each run we encounter infected. Each run we make it back. The truck takes some damage, a cracked window from when we drove through a swarm in Hammett, dents and scrapes from close calls. But it holds. Uncle Jerry's work holds. I'm sitting in the truck one evening, 3 weeks after arriving at Mountain Home, when the radio crackles to life with a new broadcast. All stations, this is Northcom Emergency Command. Major evacuation in progress. All surviving military installations and civilian safe zones are ordered to prepare for evacuation to designated overseas facilities. The continental United States is being abandoned. Repeat, the continental United States is being abandoned. Evacuation will proceed via air and sea from designated collection points. I listen, stunned, as the broadcast continues. The military is giving up on America. They're evacuating to where? Europe, Australia, islands in the Pacific? The collection point nearest to Mountain Home is Travis Air Force Base in California, 600 miles west. Evacuation flights will continue for 72 hours, then the base will be abandoned. Colonel Matthews calls a meeting in the command tent. The entire camp is there. 2,000 people packed in and around the tent. You heard the broadcast, Matthews says. We have 3 days to get to Travis. That's 600 miles through infected territory. We have fuel for maybe half that distance. We'll need to scavenge as we go. How are we getting there? Someone asks. Convoy. Every vehicle we have. We leave at dawn, drive in formation, stop only for fuel and emergencies. What if we don't make it in time? Then we miss the evacuation and we're on our own. Silence. The reality sinking in. Pack essential supplies only, Matthews continues. 1 bag per person. We move light and fast. Vehicle assignments will be posted in 1 hour. Get ready. The meeting breaks up. People scatter, panicking, preparing. I head back to the truck. The armored camping truck that got me here, that kept me alive. That might be my ticket to evacuation, but 600 miles through California, through cities that have had weeks to become infested. I spend the evening preparing. Full fuel tank. I've been hoarding fuel specifically for this. Water tanks topped off. Pantry restocked with as much as I can carry. Ammunition. I've been trading for shotgun shells and pistol rounds, building up a reserve. I have maybe 100 shells now, 50 pistol rounds. The truck can carry 6 people if we squeeze, 2 in the cab, 4 in the camper. Matthews assigns me a team. Davis and Chen again, Dr. Reeves, and 2 civilians, a young couple named Mike and Jennifer, who have mechanical skills and can help with vehicle maintenance on the road. We meet at the truck before dawn. Everyone has their one bag. Everyone looks terrified and determined in equal measure. 600 miles, Davis says, checking his rifle. Biggest supply run yet. We've done this before, I say, trying to sound confident. We know how to survive. Not through cities, not through Los Angeles. He's right. LA is between us and Travis, a city of 4 million people, 4 million potential infected. Matthews gives the convoy order over the radio. Route is Interstate 84 west to Interstate 5 south, straight shot to Travis. Stay together. If someone breaks down, we help if we can, but we don't stop for long. Infected will be drawn to the convoy. Speed is survival. The convoy is 40 vehicles, military trucks, civilian cars, a few RVs, my armored camping truck near the front. 2,000 people leaving Mountain Home, abandoning the base, heading for one last chance at escape. We roll out as the sun rises. The convoy stretches for a quarter mile, engines roaring, heading west on Interstate 84. The first 100 miles are relatively clear. Open desert, small towns we bypass, occasional infected we drive past. The convoy stays together, maintaining 50 miles per hour. We cross into Oregon. The landscape changes, becoming greener, more forested. The interstate follows the Columbia River Gorge, scenic and beautiful, and full of abandoned vehicles. Near Portland, we hit our first major obstacle. The interstate is blocked by a massive pileup. Dozens of vehicles crash together, the roadway impassable. The convoy stops. Matthews gets on the radio. I'll find a way around. Local roads, stay together. We navigate through Portland's outskirts, following side streets, avoiding the downtown core. Infected are everywhere here, thousands of them. They hear the convoy and converge. We drive faster, weaving through neighborhoods, crushing infected under our wheels when we have to. The armored truck handles it brutally well. One of the civilian vehicles in the convoy doesn't make it, swarmed, tipped over, screams on the radio cut short. We keep moving, south of Portland, back on Interstate 5, racing toward California. The fuel gauge is showing a quarter tank. We need to stop for gas. There, a truck stop ahead, big one, meant for commercial vehicles. The convoy pulls in. It's chaos. 2,000 people trying to refuel 40 vehicles from underground tanks with hand pumps. It takes 3 hours. Infected wander up from the surrounding area, drawn by the noise. The soldiers set up a perimeter, hold them off. We get fuel, we move. Into California. The landscape turns to agriculture, vast fields on either side of the interstate. The convoy speeds up, taking advantage of the clear roads. But we're running out of time. It's been 48 hours since we left Mountain Home. We have 24 hours to get to Travis, and we're still 300 miles away. Sacramento appears ahead, another major city, another obstacle. The interstate is blocked again, but this time, there's no way around. The bridges over the Sacramento River are destroyed, collapsed, or barricaded. Matthews gets on the radio. We need to find another crossing. Anyone have maps? I have Uncle Jerry's road atlas in the truck. I pull it out, study the Sacramento area. There's a bridge 15 miles north, Highway 99. That'll take us off course. It's that or swim. The convoy diverts north, following smaller roads. The infected are thick here, former city residents turned monsters. We drive through them, literally through them, the trucks pushing bodies aside like snow. The Highway 99 bridge is intact, but blocked by military vehicles. Abandoned, gates open. We drive through, back on track heading south, racing against the clock. The fuel is getting low again. We need another stop, but there's no time. Davis is watching the fuel gauge. We're going to run dry before we get there. We have to try. 50 miles from Travis. The fuel gauge is on empty. The diesel engine is running on fumes. 40 miles. The engine starts to sputter. 30 miles. I can see smoke in the distance. Travis Air Force Base is burning. 20 miles. The engine dies. The truck coasts to a stop on the side of the interstate. No, I say. No. No. The convoy keeps moving. Some vehicles stop, checking on us. Matthew's voice on the radio. Can you fix it? Mike climbs out, pops the hood. It's not broken, we're just out of fuel. There's a gas station half a mile back, Jennifer says, looking at the map. We don't have time to pump fuel, Davis says. The evacuation ends in 6 hours. Matthews makes the call. Transfer to other vehicles. We'll come back for the truck if we can. Transfer. Abandon the truck. The armored camping truck that's been my home, my protection, my survival. No, I say. But even as I say it, I know he's right. We're out of options. We grab our bags, abandon the truck on the roadside, and pile into other convoy vehicles. I climb into a military truck with Davis and Chen. Through the rear window, I watch my truck disappear behind us. 15 miles, 10, 5. Travis Air Force Base appears ahead. The smoke is from burning buildings, but the runway is clear. C-17 cargo planes are lined up, engines running, loading people. The convoy races through the base gates. Soldiers direct us to the loading areas. Move, move, move! Last flight's leave in 4 hours! We run for the planes. Thousands of people, all trying to get aboard. The soldiers are organized, loading by priority. Children first, then elderly, then everyone else. I make it onto a plane with 15 minutes to spare. The interior is packed. People sitting on the floor, standing, pressed together. Davis and Chen are nearby. Dr. Reeves made it, Mike and Jennifer too. The engines roar, the plane taxis, accelerates, lifts off. Through the small window, I watch California fall away below. The base, the convoy vehicles abandoned on the tarmac, the smoke, the ruins. America is gone. The flight is 14 hours. We land in Australia, Darwin Air Base. Another tent city, another safe zone. But this one isn't temporary. This one is being built to last. We're processed again. Names, skills, assignments. The Australians are taking us in, but we're refugees now. America is a dead continent behind us. I'm assigned to vehicle maintenance. Apparently, someone mentioned my uncle's armored truck and my experience with supply runs. They want me to help maintain the base's vehicle fleet. It's not glamorous, but it's useful. It's survival. I've been here in Darwin for 6 months now. The tent city is being replaced with more permanent structures. We're building a new society, piece by piece. I think about the truck sometimes. The armored camping truck sitting on the side of Interstate 5, abandoned but intact. Maybe it's still there. Maybe the infected ignore it because there's no one inside. Maybe someday, when this is all over, when we've beaten this thing, I'll go back and get it. Uncle Jerry's apocalypse insurance policy saved my life. It got me through the mountains, through the supply runs, most of the way to evacuation. I wonder if Uncle Jerry made it out. I haven't found his name on any of the survivor lists, but there are hundreds of thousands of names, and I haven't checked them all. I like to think he's somewhere, building another armored vehicle, preparing for whatever comes next. Because this isn't over. The infected still control the continents. America, Europe, Asia, all lost. We're on islands now. Australia, New Zealand, Madagascar, a few others. Safe for now. But for how long? I'm sitting in my quarters, a small room in a newly constructed barracks, when someone knocks on the door. I open it. It's Colonel Matthews. "Got a minute?" he asks. "Sure." He comes in, sits on the edge of my bunk. They're planning an operation, back to the mainland. Not America, too far gone. But there are reports of survivors in South America, small communities holding out. They want to make contact, offer evacuation. Okay. They need people with experience, people who know how to survive in infected territory, people who've done supply runs. I know where this is going. You're asking me to volunteer? I'm asking if you'd be interested. It's dangerous, but it's important. These people, if they're real, if they've survived this long, they deserve a chance to get out. I think about it. The smart choice is to stay here, safe in Darwin, maintaining vehicles, living a quiet life. But I didn't survive the apocalypse by making safe choices. When do we leave? I ask. Matthew smiles. 2 weeks. We'll brief you on the details. 2 weeks later, I'm on a cargo plane again, this time heading to South America. The team is small, 20 soldiers, 5 specialists, including me. Our mission: locate survivors, assess the situation, facilitate evacuation if possible. We land on a cargo ship off the coast of Chile. The ship is our mobile base, safe from infected, equipped with helicopters for inland operations. The first reconnaissance flight reveals what we're dealing with. Santiago is a ruin, infected, wandering the streets by the thousands. But in the mountains east of the city, there's a settlement. Smoke from cooking fires, solar panels, signs of organization. We plan the approach carefully. Helicopter insertion to a cleared landing zone, make contact, assess the situation, extract to the ship if threatened. The helicopter drops us on a ridge above the settlement. 25 people live here, survivors who fled Santiago in the early days and fortified a mountain resort. They've been surviving for 8 months, isolated, living off stored supplies and what they can grow. They're suspicious at first. Why should they trust us? Why should they leave their safe haven for the promise of evacuation? But when we show them the satellite photos of Darwin, of the permanent structures, the thousands of survivors living safely, they start to believe. We have room, I tell them. We have food, water, safety. You don't have to hide in the mountains anymore. It takes 2 days to convince them. 2 days of showing them our equipment, our organization, our resources. 2 days of proving we're not infected, not raiders, not a threat. They agree. All 25 of them. We load them onto the helicopters and extract to the ship. The operation is a success, the first of many, we hope. There are other survivor groups out there. We'll find them. We'll bring them home. I'm standing on the deck of the ship, watching the Chilean coast fade in the distance, and I realize something. I'm not just surviving anymore. I'm helping others survive. Uncle Jerry would be proud. The armored camping truck is gone, abandoned in California, but its purpose, keeping people alive, continues. And maybe that's enough. Maybe that's how we win. Not by hiding, not by giving up, but by reaching out, by finding each other, by refusing to let the apocalypse be the end of everything. We're flying back to Darwin tomorrow. We'll debrief, prepare for the next mission. There are reports of survivors in Peru, in Argentina, in Brazil. Each group we find is another small victory against the darkness. The world is broken. But we're fixing it, one person at a time. I think about day 1, sitting in that camping truck in the Idaho forest, surrounded by infected, terrified, and alone. I survived that. I survived all of it. And I'll keep surviving. We all will. Because that's what we do. That's what humans do. We survive. We adapt. We endure. The ship's engines hum beneath my feet, carrying us toward safety, toward home, toward whatever comes next. And I'm ready for it. The return to Darwin feels different this time. The ship docks at the naval facility, and we disembark to cheers from the growing community. 25 more survivors saved, 25 more lives pulled from the edge of extinction. But something feels off. Colonel Matthews pulls me aside as we're walking through the processing center. We need to talk, privately. We go to his office in the command building, prefab structure that still smells like fresh paint and metal. He closes the door and pulls out a folder marked classified. What you're about to hear doesn't leave this room, he says. Okay. He opens the folder. Inside are satellite photographs. I lean closer, trying to make sense of what I'm seeing. It's aerial footage of a compound, somewhere green, tropical. Buildings arranged in a defensive perimeter, Vehicles parked in organized rows. One of the vehicles makes my heart stop. It's a Ford F-550 with a custom camper, steel plating, the distinctive profile I'd know anywhere. "That's my truck," I say. "That's my uncle's truck." Matthews nods slowly. "We think so too. These images are from 3 days ago. Papua New Guinea, northern coast. There's a settlement there we've been monitoring. About 200 people, heavily fortified, completely self-sufficient. They've been there since the early days of the outbreak." "How did the truck get there?" "That's what we want to know. We've been trying to make radio contact with this settlement for weeks. They're not responding. Either they don't have communication equipment or they're choosing not to respond." I'm staring at the photograph. The truck looks intact, maintained. Someone drove it from California to Papua New Guinea. Someone crossed the Pacific Ocean with my uncle's truck. "There's more," Matthews says. He pulls out another photograph. This one is blurrier, taken from higher altitude, but it shows a man standing next to the truck. Older, gray hair, wearing what looks like a welding mask pushed up on his head. "Is that—" I can't finish the sentence. "We can't confirm identity from satellite imagery, but the profile matches the description you gave us of your uncle. Gerald Hutchins, age 62, retired welder. Uncle Jerry, alive, on the other side of the world with the truck I abandoned." "I need to go there," I say. "I was hoping you'd say that. We're planning a contact mission, helicopter insertion, same as Chile. Make contact, assess the settlement, offer assistance or evacuation if needed. You'd be valuable on the team. If that's your uncle, he'll trust you. If it's not, well, you know that vehicle better than anyone. Could be useful." "When?" 4 days. We need to coordinate with the Australian Navy for ship transport. Papua New Guinea is outside our normal operating range. 4 days. I spend them preparing, obsessing over the satellite photos, trying to convince myself that the man in the image is Uncle Jerry. The body type is right. The posture. The way he's standing next to the truck like he's proud of it. It has to be him. The team assembles on day 4. It's a larger group this time. 30 soldiers, 10 specialists. The mission parameters are different too. Papua New Guinea is reportedly still inhabited by uninfected survivors in remote areas. The settlement we're investigating is on the coast, accessible by sea, but the interior of the island is unknown territory. We board a naval vessel, a frigate that's been retrofitted for survivor operations. The voyage takes 2 days, sailing northeast through the Coral Sea, past the Great Barrier Reef, into tropical waters that would be paradise if the world hadn't ended. I spend the voyage on deck, watching the ocean, trying to prepare myself for the possibility that it's not Uncle Jerry. That it's someone else who found the truck, drove it to the coast, somehow got it on a ship, somehow made it to Papua New Guinea. But the alternative, that it is him, that he's alive, is almost harder to believe. We reach the Papua New Guinea coast at dawn on the 3rd day. The settlement is visible from the ship. A cluster of buildings on a peninsula, protected by walls made from shipping containers and concrete barriers. Smart defensive design. Whoever built this knew what they were doing. The helicopter insertion is scheduled for 0900 hours. We'll land on the beach north of the settlement, approach on foot, make contact at the main gate. I'm in the first helicopter with Colonel Matthews and a security team. As we fly over the settlement, I get my first clear view of it from the air. The defensive walls form a rectangle, maybe 400 meters on each side. Inside, I can see buildings, some prefab, some constructed from local materials, gardens, solar panel arrays, a water tower, and vehicles. Lots of vehicles parked in an organized motor pool, including the armored camping truck. My truck, the helicopter sets down on the beach. We disembark, weapons ready, but not raised. We're trying to appear non-threatening. The settlement's main gate is 200 meters away. We can see figures on the walls, watching us. We walk slowly, hands visible. Colonel Matthews carries a white flag, literally a white flag, the universal symbol of parley. We reach the gate. It's a massive thing, 2 shipping containers on sliders, reinforced with steel, and what looks like bulletproof glass observation ports. Professional engineering. A speaker crackles to life above the gate. Identify yourselves. American accent, male, older. Matthews steps forward. Colonel David Matthews, United States Armed Forces, Darwin Evacuation Command. We're here on a peaceful contact mission. We mean no harm. Silence for a long moment, then, "You're a long way from Darwin, Colonel. We've been making contact with survivor settlements, offering assistance, evacuation to safe zones if desired. We noticed your settlement on satellite imagery. Impressive work. We're doing fine on our own." "We can see that. We're not here to take anything from you, just to offer help if you need it and to share information about the global situation." Another silence. "How many in your party?" 30 combat personnel, 10 specialists, all uninfected, screened before departure. That's a lot of firepower for a peaceful contact mission. Papua New Guinea has unknown infection density. We came prepared for the worst, hoping for the best. I can hear discussion behind the gate, multiple voices, too muffled to make out words. Then the gate starts to slide open. Slowly, just wide enough for a single person to exit. A man steps through, older, gray-haired, wearing practical work clothes and a pistol on his hip. He's not pointing it at us, but his hand rests near it. I know that face. "Uncle Jerry," I say, stepping forward before I can stop myself. He freezes. His eyes find me in the group. I watch the recognition dawn. "Jesus Christ," he says. How are you? The truck!" I'm running. I don't care about protocol or procedure. I'm running and he's running, and we meet in the middle, hugging like we're both afraid the other isn't real. "I thought you were dead," I'm saying. "I thought the truck was in California. I ran out of fuel. I had to abandon it." "I found it," he says. "I found it on Interstate 5 with your note on the dashboard. Ran out of fuel, heading to Travis for evacuation. Jerry, if you find this..." "I'm sorry I couldn't save the truck. Thank you for building it. It saved my life. You left me a note." I don't remember leaving a note. I must have, in those final frantic minutes before abandoning the truck. The memory is hazy. "How did you get it here?" I ask. "Long story. Very long story. Come inside, all of you. We should talk properly." The gate opens fully. The settlement beyond is even more impressive from inside. Clean streets, organized housing, people going about daily tasks with a sense of normalcy that's startling after months of survival mode. Uncle Jerry leads us to a central building, a large prefab structure that serves as their community center. Inside, we sit around a conference table. Other settlement leaders join us, a woman named Patricia, who seems to be in charge of logistics, a younger man named Marcus, who handles security, a doctor named Chen, who runs the medical operations. "Start from the beginning," I say to Uncle Jerry. "How did you survive Boise?" He leans back in his chair. "I was in my workshop when it started, heard the emergency broadcasts, saw people running. I locked down the shop, reinforced it with steel plating I had on hand, spent the first week there, living off vending machine food and water from the shop bathroom." "When did you leave?" "Week 2. The infection had spread through most of the city. The military was holding a perimeter around the Capitol building. I made it there, joined the evacuation convoy heading to Mountain Home. We heard that's where you were headed too, but by the time we arrived, you'd already left for Travis. So you followed, took a different route, smaller roads, avoiding the cities. By the time I got to Interstate 5, the evacuation was over. Travis was abandoned, but I found your truck on the side of the road right where you left it. There was no fuel." "I know. There was also no hand pump in the truck anymore. You took it, remember? For getting fuel from underground tanks." I had. I'd used it at the Last Chance gas station and kept it with me through the evacuation. "So, how did you fuel it?" I ask. "Siphoned from other vehicles on the highway. Took me 6 hours to get enough diesel to run. Then, I drove it to the coast. San Francisco was a nightmare, completely overrun. but the ports were abandoned. Found a cargo ship that was being loaded for evacuation, never left dock because the crew got infected. Big container ship, mostly automated systems. You sailed a container ship alone? Not alone. I found 12 other survivors at the port, all trying to figure out how to escape. None of us were sailors, but we had a few engineers, a ship captain who worked ferries, and access to navigation equipment. We loaded the truck and as many supplies as we could onto the ship, and we left. Where were you going? Away? Anywhere that wasn't America. We headed west toward Hawaii, but the radio report said Hawaii was falling too. So we kept going. Crossed the Pacific, stopped at Midway Island for supplies, found it abandoned but with fuel reserves. Kept going. Eventually made it to Papua New Guinea. The northern coast here was relatively clear. We found this peninsula, good defensive position, fresh water source. We've been building ever since. How many people are here now? Patricia answers. 207. We've been taking in survivors we find along the coast, small groups, individuals. We've established farming, fishing, power generation, medical care. It's sustainable, Colonel Matthews speaks up. That's impressive, genuinely impressive. You've built what we're trying to build in Darwin, but you did it independently, without military support. Military support comes with military rules, Marcus says. No offense, Colonel, but we prefer our independence. None taken. But I want you to understand, Darwin isn't a military dictatorship. It's a coalition. Australian government, U.S. military remnants, civilian leadership. We're building something permanent. Schools, hospitals, agriculture. We have 12,000 people now and growing. 12,000? Patricia looks surprised. We didn't know there were that many survivors anywhere. Madagascar has almost 20,000. New Zealand has 30,000. There are pockets all over. We're starting to connect them, share resources, coordinate research into the infection. Uncle Jerry leans forward. Research? You're trying to cure it? Or at least understand it? We need to know if the infected will eventually die off, or if this is permanent. We need to know if the infection can mutate, if it's transmissible through vectors other than bites. We need to know if we can ever reclaim the continents. The room goes quiet. Reclaiming the continents? It seems impossible. There are billions of infected out there. But 12,000 survivors here, 20,000 there, 30,000 somewhere else. That adds up. That's enough to start rebuilding. Why did you come here? Uncle Jerry asked me. To Papua New Guinea specifically. You saw the truck on satellite, didn't you? Yes. We've been monitoring survivor settlements. When we saw the truck, I recognized it. I had to know if you were alive. And now you know. So what happens next? I look at Colonel Matthews. He spreads his hands, leaving the decision to me. That depends, I say. We're offering evacuation to anyone who wants it. Transport to Darwin, integration into the larger community. But we're not forcing anyone. If you want to stay here, keep building what you've started. We respect that. What do you want? Uncle Jerry asked me directly. What do I want? I've been surviving for so long, I haven't thought about what I actually want. I want to stop running, I say. I want to be part of something bigger than just survival. I want to help rebuild. You can do that here. I know. But Darwin has resources you don't. Medical facilities, research labs, communication networks. They're connected to other settlements, coordinating efforts. Here, you're isolated, safe, but isolated. Patricia speaks up. He's not wrong. We've been building blind, not knowing what's happening in the rest of the world. If there are tens of thousands of survivors organizing, connecting, we should be part of that. We'd lose our independence, Marcus argues. We'd gain support, Patricia counters. Medicine we can't manufacture. Technology we can't develop alone. Knowledge we don't have. The discussion continues for hours. The settlement leadership is divided. Some want to join Darwin, connect with the larger survivor network. Others want to maintain their independence, stay isolated on their secure peninsula. Finally, Uncle Jerry proposes a compromise. Send a delegation. 10 of our people go to Darwin, see what it's really like, report back. If it's as good as the colonel says, we consider integration. If it's not, we stay independent. Fair? Matthews nods. Fair. We can arrange transport on our return voyage. The delegation is selected over the next 2 days. 10 volunteers representing different aspects of the settlement. Farmers, engineers, medical personnel, security. Uncle Jerry insists on going himself. I need to see what you're building, he tells me. If I'm going to convince people to join you, I need to believe in it myself. The voyage back to Darwin takes 3 days. Uncle Jerry spends most of it on deck with me, talking about everything that's happened since we last saw each other. He tells me about the crossing, about building the settlement, about the people he's saved. I tell him about Mountain Home, about the supply runs, about the convoy to Travis, and the evacuation to Darwin. The truck saved my life, I tell him again. Everything you built into it, the armor, the supplies, the systems, it was perfect. That's why I built it. I always thought something like this might happen. Not zombies specifically, but some kind of collapse. Economic, environmental, nuclear. The truck was insurance. It was more than insurance. It was salvation. He puts his hand on my shoulder. You would have survived without it. You're resourceful, smart, determined. The truck helped, but you did the surviving. We dock in Darwin on the 4th day. The delegation's reaction to the settlement is exactly what I hoped for. The scale of it, the organization, the sense of permanence. It's overwhelming compared to their isolated peninsula. Over the next week, Uncle Jerry and the others tour the facilities. They see the farms producing food for thousands, the hospital treating diseases and injuries with modern medicine, the schools teaching children who lost everything, the research labs working on understanding the infection, the manufacturing facilities producing tools, equipment, building materials. This is real, Uncle Jerry says on the 7th day. This isn't just survival. This is civilization rebuilding. The delegation votes unanimously to recommend integration. They return to Papua New Guinea with us on the next supply ship, carrying documentation, photographs, testimony about what they've seen. It takes 2 more weeks of discussion, but eventually, the Papua New Guinea settlement agrees. They'll maintain their peninsula as a regional hub, but they'll integrate with the Darwin network, share resources, coordinate security, contribute to research efforts. The armored camping truck makes one final voyage from Papua New Guinea to Darwin, loaded with supplies and settlement records. Uncle Jerry drives it off the transport ship personally, parking it in Darwin's motor pool like a trophy. End of the road, he says, patting the hood. We traveled farther than I ever imagined. California to Papua New Guinea to Australia. Hell of a journey. What happens to it now, I ask. It'll be maintained. Kept ready. Maybe used for supply runs, maybe kept as a backup for emergencies. But its main job is done. It got us both to safety. I run my hand along the armored panels, feeling the dents and scrapes, the evidence of survival. This truck is part of my story now, part of history. Life in Darwin settles into a routine. Uncle Jerry joins the engineering department, helping design defensive structures and vehicles for other settlements. I continue working with the contact teams, making runs to find survivor groups. Over the next 6 months, we bring in settlements from the Philippines, from Indonesia, from Pacific Islands. Each group adds to our numbers, our knowledge, our strength. The research labs make breakthroughs. The infection isn't supernatural. It's a virus, mutated beyond recognition, but still biological. Which means it can be fought, potentially cured. More importantly, they discover the infected are dying. Slowly, over years rather than months, but dying. Their bodies are breaking down, unable to sustain themselves without proper nutrition. In another decade, maybe 2, the infection might burn itself out naturally, which means the continents aren't lost forever. They're just lost for now. The global survivor network grows. Darwin coordinates with Madagascar, with New Zealand, with settlements in Japan and Southeast Asia. We're building communication networks, sharing technology, planning for the future. 1 year after arriving in Darwin, I'm offered a position in the coordination office, planning missions, managing resources, connecting settlements. It's important work, but it's also desk work. I'm not sure I'm ready to stop going into the field. I'm debating it when Uncle Jerry finds me in my quarters one evening. "Got something to show you," he says. I follow him to the motor pool. The armored camping truck is there, but it's been modified. New armor plating, reinforced suspension, upgraded electrical systems. It looks ready for war. "What is this?" I ask. The next phase. We're planning longer range missions, South America, Africa, maybe even North America eventually. We need vehicles that can handle extended operations in infected territory. I've been working with the engineering team to upgrade the truck. State-of-the-art defensive systems, extended range fuel tanks, communication equipment. For what? For you, if you want it. They're forming a long-range reconnaissance division. 5 teams, 5 vehicles. Missions lasting weeks or months. You'd lead one of the teams. The truck would be yours again. I look at the truck, gleaming in the motor pool lights, ready for another impossible journey. Why me? Because you've proven you can survive anything. Because you know how to make the hard calls. Because people trust you. And because I built this truck for someone who wouldn't give up no matter what. That's you. I think about it. Desk job, safe and important. Or field work, dangerous but meaningful. There's no real choice. I was never meant for desks. When do we start? I ask. 2 weeks? Training first, then the first mission. We've had radio contact with a group in Brazil. Large settlement, maybe 500 people. They're asking for help, saying they're under siege. Your team would be first response. 2 weeks of intensive training. The new team is good. Veterans of supply runs, people who've proven themselves in the field. We learn the upgraded truck systems, practice tactical operations, study maps of Brazil. The mission launches on schedule. We fly to a forward base in Madagascar, transfer to a cargo ship, sail across the Atlantic to Brazil. The voyage takes a week. We use the time to prepare, to plan, to ready ourselves for whatever we'll find. The Brazilian settlement is on the coast south of Rio de Janeiro, in what used to be a resort town. They've been there for over a year, surviving on fishing and scavenged supplies. But recently, something has changed. The infected are organizing, their radio operator tells us. Not like before. They're moving in groups, coordinating attacks. It's like they're learning. That's concerning. The research suggests the virus damages cognitive function severely. Organized behavior shouldn't be possible. We land on the beach north of the settlement just after dawn. The truck drives off the landing craft and onto Brazilian sand. First time the wheels have touched South American soil. The settlement is visible a mile south, walls made from shipping containers and concrete, just like Papua New Guinea. But these walls show damage. Breaches, repairs, signs of sustained assault. We drive slowly, watching for infected. The beach is clear. Too clear. Where are they? We reach the settlement's main gate. It's heavily damaged, reinforced with what looks like vehicle frames and sheet metal. Desperate repairs. The gate opens and we drive through. Inside, the settlement is a disaster. Buildings damaged, people looking exhausted and terrified. We count maybe 300 survivors, not the 500 they reported. A lot of losses. Their leader is a woman named Isabella, late 40s, with the look of someone who hasn't slept in days. "Thank God you came," she says. "We're barely holding on." "Tell us what's happening," I say. She takes us to the wall, to an observation post. Look. I look out at the forest beyond the settlement. At first, I don't see anything. Then, the movement registers. Infected. Hundreds of them. Maybe thousands. They're not wandering randomly. They're gathered in the tree line watching the settlement. Waiting. They attack every night, Isabella says. Coordinated rushes at weak points in the wall. We fight them off, but barely. We're running out of ammunition, out of able fighters. Another week of this, and we're done. How long has this been going on? 3 weeks. It started small, just a few dozen attacking at random. Then more came. Now there's an army of them out there. I study the infected through binoculars. Their behavior is wrong. They're standing still, conserved energy. Normal infected don't do that. They shamble, they wander, they react to stimuli. They don't stand in formation. Something's controlling them, I say. That's crazy, one of my team members says. Look at them. That's not random behavior. Someone or something is directing them. We spend the day reinforcing the settlement's defenses, setting up fields of fire, preparing for the night assault. As the sun sets, the infected in the tree line start moving. They don't run. They walk in organized groups, approaching from multiple directions simultaneously. It's the most unnatural thing I've seen in this entire apocalypse. The battle lasts 4 hours. We use the truck's mounted weapons, our personal firearms, improvised explosives. The infected keep coming, wave after wave, probing for weaknesses. But we hold. The sun rises and they retreat back into the forest. 60 infected, destroyed. 3 settlement defenders wounded, none killed. We survived the night. But I'm more convinced than ever. Something is directing them. Over the next 3 days, we patrol the area, trying to find the source of the coordination. We find camps in the forest, areas where the infected gather between assaults, and we find something else. Infrastructure, radio equipment, jury-rigged but functional, solar panels, storage caches of weapons and supplies. This isn't infected infrastructure. This is human. Someone is living out here. Someone is using the infected as weapons. We find him on the 4th day, a man living in a compound deep in the forest, surrounded by infected that don't attack him. He's wearing what looks like a hazmat suit modified with electronics, emitting some kind of signal. Frequency modulation, our tech specialist says. He's broadcasting on a frequency that affects them. Doesn't control them exactly, but influences their behavior. Makes them passive around him, aggressive toward targets he designates. How is that possible? The virus affects the brain. Maybe it's susceptible to certain frequencies, certain signals. It's insane, but so is everything else about this situation. We approach the compound carefully. The infected around it don't react to us. Too focused on the signal. We breach the compound, find the man inside hunched over radio equipment. He doesn't resist, doesn't even seem surprised. Took you long enough, he says in accented English. Brazilian, maybe Portuguese. I've been watching you. The armored truck is impressive. Who are you? I ask. Dr. Rafael Santos, neuroscientist. I worked at the University of Rio before the collapse. You're controlling the infected? Influencing them. There's a difference. I can't make them do complex tasks, but I can direct their aggression, make them focus on specific targets. Why are you attacking the settlement? Why? He laughs. Because they exiled me. 6 months ago, I proposed my research to them, showed them I could potentially control the infected, use them as a defensive force. They called me insane, dangerous. They threw me out of the settlement with nothing but what I could carry. So, this is revenge. This is proving a point. I can destroy them whenever I choose, or I can protect them. They need to understand that. I look at the equipment, at the infected standing motionless around the compound. This is brilliant and horrifying in equal measure. You're coming with us, I say. Back to the settlement. We'll discuss this rationally. They'll kill me. No, they won't, because you're going to call off the infected first. Then we're going to Darwin, where people who understand science will evaluate your research properly. He considers. Darwin? The Australian settlement. I've heard radio chatter. You have research facilities, state of the art, and they won't execute me for experimenting with the infected? They'll be interested in your results. If you can really influence infected behavior, that's valuable, but you can't use it to hurt people. I wasn't hurting them, I was teaching them a lesson. You killed people. Directly or indirectly, your actions killed settlement defenders. His face falls. I just wanted them to understand. Call them off! Now! He does. The radio equipment adjustment is complex, but he knows exactly what he's doing. The frequency changes, and the infected in the forest begin to disperse, wandering away from the settlement. Within an hour, the siege is over. We bring Dr. Santos back to the settlement. Isabella wants to kill him immediately, but I stop her. He's coming to Darwin. His research is too valuable to waste. But he'll face justice there. Proper justice, not revenge. She agrees reluctantly. We load Santos and his equipment onto the truck. The settlement is safe again, the infected wandering away. The voyage back to Darwin is tense. Santos is kept under guard, but he's cooperative, explaining his research, showing us his data. The virus does respond to certain frequencies, he claims. With the right equipment, you could potentially create safe zones, areas the infected avoid. Or you could weaponize them, which is what he did. We reach Darwin 3 weeks after leaving. Santos is turned over to the research division in the Security Council. His work is evaluated by actual ethicists and scientists. The conclusion: his research is valuable, but his methods were criminal. He's put on trial, found guilty of reckless endangerment and multiple counts of manslaughter. But instead of execution, he's sentenced to supervised research duty. His knowledge is too useful to waste. It's controversial. Some people think he should be executed. Others think he should be pardoned entirely for scientific advancement. The compromise satisfies no one, but preserves his expertise while punishing his crimes. Meanwhile, his research opens new possibilities. We start developing frequency-based deterrent systems for settlements. It's not perfect, but it reduces infected presence in key areas. The missions continue. Over the next year, my team makes 6 more long-range operations. We find settlements in Argentina, in South Africa, in India. Each one adds to the global network. The infected population is declining measurably. The research division's predictions are coming true. Without food, without medical care, their bodies are breaking down. In another 5 years, maybe 10, the infected density might be low enough to begin reclamation operations, reclaiming the continents. It seems less impossible every day. Uncle Jerry's health starts declining in the 2nd year. He's 65 now, and the stress of the apocalypse has aged him. He steps back from active engineering work, transitioning to advisory roles. "I'm proud of you," he tells me one evening. We're sitting on the beach, watching the sun set over the ocean. "You took the truck I built and you made it mean something bigger. You're saving people, building the future." "We're building it together," I say. "You, me, everyone here. We're all part of it. I won't see the end of this. The reclamation, the rebuilding, I'm old, tired, but you will. You'll see humanity retake the world." "Don't talk like that. You've got years left." He smiles. "Maybe, maybe not. But either way, I'm content. I built something that mattered. The truck, yeah, but more than that. I built a legacy. You." He dies 3 months later, peacefully in his sleep. Natural causes, the doctors say. His heart just stopped. We bury him on a hill overlooking Darwin with a view of the ocean. The entire community attends. He touched so many lives, saved so many people with his engineering work. I speak at the funeral. My uncle built things, practical things, useful things. He built the truck that saved my life and the lives of hundreds of others. He built defensive structures that keep settlements safe. He built bridges between communities. But most importantly, he built hope. He showed us that even in the darkest times, human ingenuity and determination can create something beautiful. The armored camping truck is parked next to his grave during the service, a monument to his work. After the funeral, I take the truck out for a drive. Just me, alone, driving along the Australian coast. I need to think, to process, to grieve. I drive for hours, eventually parking at a remote beach. I sit on the hood, watching waves crash against the shore. Uncle Jerry built this truck to survive the apocalypse. It did that and more. It became a symbol of human resilience, a tool for saving lives, a bridge between isolated survivors. And now, it's mine completely. The legacy he left me. I sit there until sunset, remembering. Then, I drive back to Darwin, back to work. Back to the mission of rebuilding the world. 3 years after the outbreak, the Global Survivor Network includes over 100,000 people across 47 settlements. We have agriculture, manufacturing, education, research. We have children being born into a world that's dangerous but hopeful. The infected population has declined by an estimated 40%. The research division predicts another 5 years until reclamation operations can begin safely. I'm 32 years old. I've spent the last 3 years leading long-range reconnaissance missions, finding survivors, bringing them into the network. I've seen horrors and wonders. I've watched humanity at its worst and its best. The armored camping truck has been on every mission. It's been upgraded, modified, repaired, but the core of Uncle Jerry's design remains. It's traveled over 50,000 miles since the outbreak, across oceans and continents, through infected hordes and impossible situations. And it's still running. I'm planning my next mission when Colonel Matthews calls me to his office. He's been promoted to general now, overseeing all military operations across the Survivor Network. We have a situation, he says, and an opportunity. I'm listening. He pulls up a map on his computer screen. North America, the United States. We've been receiving radio signals from the continental U.S., automated broadcasts from the old emergency systems mostly. But recently, something different. A live transmission from someone in Wyoming. Wyoming. Yellowstone National Park specifically. Someone claiming to have a community of 2,000 survivors living in the park's thermal areas. They're asking for contact, for help, for connection to the global network. 2,000 survivors in America. If true, it's the largest concentration we've heard of on the continent. Could be a trap, I say. Could be. Or it could be real. Either way, we need to investigate. I'm authorizing a mission. Full expedition, 3 vehicles, 30 personnel. Goal is to make contact, assess the situation, determine if evacuation is needed, or if they're sustainable where they are. 3 vehicles? We're sending your truck, obviously. Plus 2 support vehicles, with additional personnel and supplies. It's a major operation. Crossing the Pacific, landing somewhere on the West Coast, driving to Wyoming. Minimum 6-week mission, possibly longer. You want me to lead it? You're the best we have for this. You've led more successful contact missions than anyone. You know North America, and you have the truck that can handle anything. Think about it. Returning to America, the continent we abandoned 3 years ago, where millions of infected still wander, where entire cities are tombs. It's dangerous, possibly suicidal, but 2,000 survivors. If they're real, they deserve contact. They deserve to know they're not alone. I'll do it, I say. Good. Mission launches in 3 weeks. Start selecting your team. The team selection takes 2 weeks. I need people who can handle extreme conditions, who won't panic under pressure, who have proven themselves in the field. I end up with a mix of military and civilian specialists, combat veterans, mechanics, medics, scientists. The 3 vehicles are prepared. The armored camping truck leads the convoy. The 2 support vehicles are modified military trucks, also armored, carrying additional supplies and equipment. We load enough food, water, ammunition, and fuel for 3 months. If the mission takes longer than that, we'll need to scavenge or abort. The voyage across the Pacific is on a cargo ship, same as previous missions. But this time, the destination is San Francisco. The same port Uncle Jerry left from 3 years ago. The voyage takes 10 days. We use the time for final preparations, equipment checks, tactical planning. San Francisco Bay appears on the horizon on day 11. The city is a ruin, visible even from miles offshore. Buildings collapsed or burned, bridges damaged, no signs of life or movement. We land at the port of Oakland, the cargo ship pulling into an abandoned dock. The city is silent except for wind and waves. The vehicles drive off the ship and onto American soil for the first time in 3 years. It feels surreal, wrong. This was home once. Now it's a graveyard. We spend the first day securing the port area, clearing infected, establishing a defensive perimeter. The infected in San Francisco are sparse, mostly individual wanderers. 3 years of starvation has reduced their numbers significantly. Day 2, we begin the drive east. Interstate 80 through Sacramento, over the Sierra Nevada, into Nevada. The highways are cluttered with abandoned vehicles, but the trucks navigate around them easily. We see infected occasionally, small groups, sometimes individuals. We avoid engagement when possible, drive through when necessary. The trucks are intimidating enough that most infected don't even attempt to approach. Nevada is desolate. The cities are ruins, the desert reclaiming the roads. We camp each night in defensive positions, rotating watch, staying alert. Utah is similar. Salt Lake City is a burned-out shell. We bypass it entirely, taking rural highways through the mountains. 2 weeks after landing in San Francisco, we cross into Wyoming. Yellowstone is another 100 miles northeast. The radio crackles to life. Unknown convoy approaching from the southwest, identify yourselves. I grab the radio mic. This is the Darwin expedition, responding to your broadcast request for contact. We mean no harm. We're here to help. Silence for a moment, then, Darwin? Australia? You came all the way from Australia? We did. We're a global survivor network. We've been making contact with settlements worldwide. Your broadcast reached us. We wanted to meet you, see if you need assistance. Holy shit. We didn't think anyone would actually come. We've been alone for so long. You're not alone anymore. Can you provide coordinates for safe approach? They do. We follow the directions, driving into Yellowstone National Park through the north entrance. The park is pristine, beautiful, untouched by the apocalypse, except for the absence of tourists. The settlement is in the Norris Geyser Basin, built around the thermal features. Steam rises from geysers and hot springs, creating a surreal landscape. And there are people, hundreds of them, emerging from buildings and tents to watch our convoy arrive. They're cheering, crying, celebrating. We park in the settlement's central area and step out of the vehicles. A crowd surrounds us immediately, touching us like we're not real, asking questions, welcoming us. Their leader pushes through the crowd, a woman, mid-40s, wearing a ranger uniform with modifications. I'm Sarah Chen, former park ranger. Welcome to New Yellowstone. How many people are here? I ask. 2,134, as of this morning. We've been taking in survivors since the outbreak. The thermal areas provide heat, power from geothermal generators, protection from infected who avoid the heat and steam. That's brilliant. It's survival. Come on, I'll show you what we've built. Over the next 3 days, we tour the settlement. They've built an entire community using the park's natural resources. Geothermal power, greenhouses heated by steam, water from hot springs cooled and purified. They're completely self-sufficient. We don't need evacuation, Sarah tells me, but we need connection. We need to know what's happening in the rest of the world. We need trade, communication, shared knowledge. That's exactly what the network provides. You maintain your settlement, your independence, but you're connected to other communities, share resources, information, support each other. We're in. The mission is a success. We establish radio communication protocols, share maps and information, arrange for future supply exchanges. New Yellowstone joins the global survivor network as the 48th settlement, but the mission has a secondary benefit, proving that North America isn't completely lost. There are survivors here, communities that have endured. With the infected population declining, reclamation might be possible sooner than we thought. We spend 2 weeks in Yellowstone before beginning the return journey. The drive back to San Francisco takes 3 weeks, including stops to investigate other potential survivor locations. We find 2 more small groups, totaling 80 people, and bring them into the network. The voyage back to Darwin takes another 10 days. When we arrive, we're greeted as heroes. The mission to North America succeeded beyond expectations. I'm debriefing with General Matthews when he drops another surprise. The Security Council has been discussing next steps. With the infected population declining, with settlements like Yellowstone proving sustainability is possible, we think it's time to start planning for permanent return operations. Return operations? Recolonization of the continents, starting small, establishing footholds, gradually expanding. It'll take decades, but we need to start planning now. Where would you start? North America, actually, Yellowstone specifically. It's defensible, sustainable, and now we know there's a community there that's thriving. We'd expand from that base, gradually reclaiming the surrounding areas. That's ambitious? It's necessary. Humanity can't stay on islands forever. We need to reclaim our home. Over the next year, the planning continues. The global survivor network grows to 200,000 people across 90 settlements. The infected population continues to decline. Research into frequency-based deterrence advances, creating safe zones that expand gradually. 5 years after the outbreak, the first permanent return expedition launches. 50 families, 200 people total, traveling to Yellowstone to establish a permanent expansion of New Yellowstone. They're equipped with the best technology we have, supported by supply lines from Darwin and other settlements. I lead the convoy. The armored camping truck, now upgraded with the latest defensive and communication systems, carries the first families back to American soil. The expedition is successful. The families settle in, begin building new structures, expanding the community. More expeditions follow. Within 2 years, New Yellowstone has grown to 5,000 people. Other footholds are established. In South America, in Africa, in Europe. Small at first, then growing. The infected are being pushed back, not through violence, but through steady, careful expansion of human habitation. 10 years after the outbreak, the global survivor network includes over 1 million people. The infected population has declined by 80%. Large areas of the continents are now habitable again. I'm 42 years old. I've spent a decade leading expeditions, finding survivors, establishing settlements. The armored camping truck has been my home, my office, my weapon. It's traveled over 200,000 miles across every continent, through every imaginable danger. And it's still running. Uncle Jerry built it to last. I'm planning another expedition when I receive an unexpected radio call. It's from New Yellowstone, from Sarah Chen. "We found something," she says, "in the park. You need to come see this." I take the truck and a small team driving from Darwin to San Francisco to Yellowstone. The journey that once took months now takes 3 weeks. The routes are established, the safe zones marked. Sarah meets me at the settlement. She looks excited and nervous. "We've been expanding into the southern part of the park," she explains, "clearing infected, establishing new infrastructure. We found an old ranger station that had been barricaded. Inside, we found journals, recordings, evidence of a group that survived the first 2 years of the outbreak before disappearing." "Okay?" One of the journals mentioned someone, a prepper from Idaho who helped them fortify the station, someone who built vehicles and defensive systems, someone named Gerald Hutchins. My heart stops. "Uncle Jerry was here?" "According to the journal, yes. He passed through about 6 months after the outbreak, heading west toward the coast. He helped them for a few weeks, then left. The journal says he was looking for someone. His nephew." I'm holding the journal now, reading the entries in someone else's handwriting. Descriptions of Uncle Jerry, his work, his kindness, his determination to find me. He spent 6 months searching before finding the truck in California. 6 months crossing the country, helping people, never giving up. There's more, Sarah says. She hands me a small box. We found this with the journal. Inside is a letter, sealed in plastic, addressed to me, in Uncle Jerry's handwriting. My hands shake as I open it. If you're reading this, it means I made it. Made it to the coast, found the truck, eventually found you. Or maybe it means you found this before I found you, which would mean I failed, but at least you know I tried. I built the truck for you. Not specifically, but for the idea of you. The next generation, the survivors, the ones who would rebuild. I always believed humanity would face a crisis like this eventually. I wanted to create tools that would help people survive it. You survived. I know you did. You're smart, resourceful, stubborn, just like your old uncle. Whatever happens next, remember this. Survival isn't the end goal. It's just the beginning. We survive so we can rebuild. We rebuild so we can thrive. We thrive so we can make sure this never happens again. The truck is yours now. Use it well. Save people, build things, make the world better than it was. I'm proud of you. I was always proud of you. Love, Uncle Jerry. I'm crying. I don't care who sees it. Sarah puts her hand on my shoulder. He found you, she says gently. You know that, right? You told me about Papua New Guinea, about Darwin. He found you. You had time together before he passed. That's more than most people got. She's right. We had 2 years together after I thought he was dead. 2 years to rebuild our relationship, to work together, to say everything that needed to be said. But this letter, knowing he was searching for me, never giving up, it means everything. I fold the letter carefully and put it back in the box. Thank you for showing me this. Of course. There's one more thing. She leads me outside to a new monument they're building in the settlement center. A memorial to the fallen, to those who didn't survive the outbreak. At the base of the monument, they're installing plaques with names, thousands of names, people who died in the early days, people who sacrificed themselves so others could live. One of the plaques is for Uncle Jerry, Gerald Hutchins, 1963-2027, builder, engineer, savior. We're honoring him for his contributions to survivor settlements worldwide, Sarah says. His designs, his innovations, they've saved countless lives. He deserves to be remembered. He does, I agree. Thank you. I stay in Yellowstone for a week, helping with the expansion, sharing stories about Uncle Jerry with the community. Then I return to Darwin, carrying the letter with me, keeping it safe. 15 years after the outbreak, the world has changed. The infected are rare now, isolated individuals rather than hordes. Most major cities have been cleared, though they remain largely abandoned. We're building new communities rather than reoccupying the old ones. The global population has reached 5 million survivors. New children outnumber apocalypse survivors for the first time. A new generation is being born that will only know the outbreak as history. I'm 47 years old now. I've stepped back from active fieldwork, transitioning to coordination and planning roles. Younger people lead the expeditions now, driving new vehicles, exploring new territories. The armored camping truck sits in a museum in Darwin, preserved as a historical artifact. Children tour it, learn about its journey, touch the armor plating, and imagine the adventures. But sometimes, late at night, I take it out. Drive along the coast, remembering everything. The mountains of Idaho, the supply runs from Motorhome, the convoy to Travis, the voyage across the Pacific. Uncle Jerry's workshop, his smile, his pride in what we built together. The truck still runs perfectly. Uncle Jerry's engineering was too good to fail. 20 years after the outbreak, I'm 52 years old. The The world is recognizable again. Cities are being rebuilt. Agriculture has recovered. Industry has restarted. The infected are extinct, the last one dying in captivity in a research facility 3 years ago. We won. Humanity survived and reclaimed the world. I'm sitting on my porch in Darwin watching the sunset when a young woman approaches. She's maybe 25, carrying a notebook. "Excuse me, are you the one who drove the armored camping truck?" I smile. I am. I'm writing a history of the outbreak. The first comprehensive account using survivor testimonies and historical records. Your story is central to it. Would you be willing to talk? Of course. She sits down and we talk for hours. I tell her everything. The camping trip that turned into an apocalypse, the truck that saved my life, Uncle Jerry's sacrifice and genius, the global network we built, the reclamation of the continents. She records it all, transcribes it, preserves it for future generations. When we're done, she asks one final question. What do you want people to remember most about those years? I think about it. I want them to remember that humans are resilient. We faced the worst possible situation, and we survived. We didn't just survive, we rebuilt. We came back stronger, wiser, more united. We turned an apocalypse into a new beginning. And the truck? What should people remember about it? The truck was a symbol. It represented human ingenuity, the ability to prepare for the worst while hoping for the best. Uncle Jerry built it as insurance against the apocalypse. It became a tool for saving lives, connecting communities, rebuilding civilization. It's a reminder that the things we build, the knowledge we preserve, the skills we maintain, they matter. They can make the difference between extinction and survival. She thanks me and leaves. I sit on my porch, watching the stars come out, thinking about everything we've been through. 25 years after the outbreak, I'm 57 years old. The world is peaceful, prosperous, rebuilt. The population has reached 20 million and growing. New technologies have been developed. Lessons learned from the collapse have been implemented to prevent future catastrophes. I receive a message from the Yellowstone settlement. They're dedicating a new monument and they want me there for the ceremony. I take the armored camping truck out of the museum for one final journey. The curators are nervous. It's a priceless historical artifact. But I convince them the truck deserves one last ride. The drive from Darwin to Yellowstone is pleasant, comfortable, safe. The roads are maintained, the settlements are thriving, there's no danger lurking in the shadows. The monument is at the entrance to New Yellowstone, now a thriving city of 50,000 people. It's a statue of Uncle Jerry, larger than life, holding a wrench in one hand and blueprints in the other. At the base is an inscription: Gerald Hutchins, builder of hope. His vehicles saved lives. His vision saved humanity. The ceremony is attended by thousands, political leaders, scientists, historians, ordinary people who benefited from Uncle Jerry's work. They unveil the statue and the crowd cheers. I'm asked to speak. I stand in front of the crowd looking at the statue of my uncle, and I tell them about the man behind the legend. Uncle Jerry was just a welder from Idaho who liked to tinker with vehicles. He wasn't a scientist or a military strategist. He was just a man who believed in being prepared, who wanted to help people, who never gave up even when the world was ending. He built a truck to survive the apocalypse. That truck saved my life and the lives of hundreds of others. But more than that, he built a legacy of innovation, resilience, and hope. Every settlement that uses his defensive designs, every vehicle that incorporates his engineering, every person who survived because of his work, that's his real monument. We survived the apocalypse because people like Uncle Jerry existed, people who built things, who shared knowledge, who refused to let humanity die. We rebuilt the world on the foundation they created. So when you look at this statue, remember, This isn't just about one man. It's about all of us. The builders, the fighters, the survivors. We did this together, and we'll keep building together, making sure what happened never happens again. The crowd applauds. The statue stands as a permanent reminder of what we overcome, what we lost, what we built. After the ceremony, I drive the truck back to Darwin one final time. The journey takes 3 weeks, and every day I think about the journey that started 25 years ago in the Idaho mountains. The truck goes back into the museum. Its traveling days are done, but its story continues, told to new generations, inspiring them to build, to prepare, to never give up. I'm 57 years old. I've lived through the apocalypse and the rebuilding. I've seen the worst of humanity and the best. I've lost people I loved and found people I didn't know I needed, and I'm content. The world is safe. Humanity thrives. The future is bright. Uncle Jerry's truck, his legacy, his hope, it all meant something. It all mattered. And that's all any of us can ask for.